What is up, 7-3 fans? Welcome back to the 7-3 Garage. Happy New Year. Today is January 1st, 2020, so this will be my first vlog of the year. This page has been around a year yesterday. December 31st, 2018 is when I started this page, and it's come a long way, so very, very happy and thankful for everyone that's put their time in and supported the channel since the beginning. So thank you for watching. Today, we're going to be running some errands in the truck. This will be one of the first longer outings that the thing has had since I've had the actual engine running. I've had a couple of little issues here and there. It's just some clamps had to be tightened up, some things had to be adjusted, but other than that, everything's good. I got the AC recharged by Frankie yesterday, or 2 days ago at his shop, and AC is nice and cold, so that's pretty cool. But we are going to be taking out the girlfriend today for the first time. She has not been out in the truck yet, so we're going to take her for a spin and see what she thinks. So the garage, as you can see, is somewhat back to normal. I still have some other things. Don't get nervous. This is not permanent. It's not permanent. Sorry, there she is. Say hi, Emily. This is Emily, my lovely girlfriend, who has been supporting me through this entire endeavor. But finally got the 300ZX back in the garage, which is awesome. That was killing me having that thing outside. This car is right around 30 years old. It's a 1990. This is original paint on this thing as well. This is my grandfather's car. He gave it to me 2 years ago for Christmas. Had a bad fuel injector, ended up fixing it, and the thing runs like a champ. So glad to have that thing back in the garage. She parks her car in the garage basically when I'm just at work. So this is just temporary for now, but it will be back in here probably tonight. And she's giving me some stink eye, but I actually washed and waxed the truck this morning. It was kind of killing me. That thing needed a little touch up, but it shines up pretty good. I've had this thing painted once before, and pretty happy with everything. There's still some things that I'm just a stickler when it comes to paint, and I know I have had to learn to understand that it's not going to be completely perfect, but it is what it is. So she shines up okay. Pretty happy about that. Give you a quick walk around here. Yeah, super happy. She shines right up. So while we're on the road today, I'm going to be discussing some of the things that I like about this setup, the setup itself, what I actually have done, because I know I've gone over briefly about what I have in this thing, but people keep asking me, so I'm going to go over a whole thing about what the truck currently has on it, what's been done to the engine as far as I can remember, and we're also going to talk about some upcoming things this week. So stay tuned for the end of the video to see what we have going on this Friday, and let's get to it. All right, let's let this. There you are. She's used to the OBS game. She knows how it goes, right? Seatbelt on, please. She knows the deal. I drove this to work yesterday, and it was awesome. Been driving it around town. I drove up to a friend's place. I drove it to Vinny's place. We're gonna get to that shortly. But it did awesome its entire trip, which I'm pretty proud to say, because it's always nerve-wracking when you get something back on the road for the first time and you haven't had it out in a while and you're not sure how things are going to run. So I've been constantly checking for leaks in this thing and doing all kinds of craziness because I'm kind of paranoid like that. But overall, it's very smooth. Everything is running, I don't want to say perfectly, but it's running very, very well since we've had the truck on the road for the past couple of days. Our first stop we just got out of real quick was Wally World. Wally World has this stuff. This is amazing. If anybody's never tried it, people ask me what I use on my paint, and this is it right here. This is Meguiar's Hybrid Ceramic Wax. This stuff is insane. You basically wash the car, truck, whatever you got, and you spray it on. You basically buff it in while the paint's wet, rinse it off. Then every continual wash after, you basically just, if you want to put it on there, you just spray it and rinse it right off. And it's insane how much it beads. So check that stuff out. Shout out to Meguiar's for making an awesome product. We are gonna actually head east. I live out west in Florida, not too far west, but probably 15-20 minutes from the coast. So we're gonna try to head over that way, take a little beach ride maybe. And we gotta go up a few cities north to her mom's house to go grab some stuff and just try to exercise this truck a little bit. So to start, we'll start from the bottom, I guess, literally the bottom of the engine. We're gonna go over some of the things that I wanted to take care of while I had the engine apart, what's been done, things like that, what the machine shop did. For those of you that are new here, this would be a good little highlight so everybody kind of is on the same page. So from the machine shop, the block that I purchased was from a friend on the West Coast. It was a Super Duty block. I believe it was out of a 2000 or 2000. Oh, I'm sorry. I think it was an 02 because it had powdered metal rods. So for those of you that don't know, Ford, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was late 2001 or 2002, they went from a forged connecting rod, which is what the OBS models had, to a powdered metal rod. It was much cheaper to produce. However, they're not very strong for holding a lot of power, boost, things like that. So people that are interested in making them fast, you can do it, but it's a dice roll because the bottom end is not going to be having a good time. So didn't really matter for me because I had purchased rods. So the engine I have now has Manley connecting rods. It's a stock crankshaft. The engine is 20 over. It has ARP main studs with an Irate diesel girdle. That kit is on their website. So I had that installed. They recommend from Irate Diesel that if you're going to have the engine assembled, that it's not technically a bolt-in or a bolt-on part for the engine. Some places have girdles and they say that it's bolt-in, but Irate Diesel recommends you have machine work done so that everything is perfectly straight and true, and they call that a line boring. So Laz down at Mesa Balancing did that for me, a line bored the block. Basically, he puts all the main caps on, installs everything to the torque spec, and then runs a line bore through to make sure that everything is going to be straight and square. While I had all the other machine work done, he went ahead and decked the block surface and the heads. He did a valve job as well. Cleaned everything up, cleaned up the valve guides. I did new lifters. I had existing Smith Brothers Comrade hardened push rods, comp 910 valve springs that are shimmed 30 thousandths, along with ARP head studs. And I also purchased, to do all the gaskets and stuff, was a Molle rebuild kit that was on their website. It came with all the stuff that you needed to rebuild basically the entire engine, all the seals, gaskets, things like that. Up top that we changed as far as the intake plenums went, I went from a Beans diesel intake plenum to an Irate Diesel TIG welded, I believe it's TIG welded, aluminum intake plenums. They are flat so that you can clear a larger 400 frame turbocharger, which I will hopefully be doing next year. We will get into detail on that coming up. Ooh, nice mega cab Cummins over there. I like that. So that's just basically what was done with this. I had my fuel injectors sent up to Swamps Diesel Performance, where I purchased them from. I had them flowed, tested, and rebuilt with new O-rings. So those are all taken care of and squared away, just to make sure, because I had metal in my oil from an old oil pump that ended up shredding the high pressure oil pump drive gear and littered my entire oil system with metal. And when we pulled the old engine apart, we actually found pieces of the teeth and metal in the oil pan. So not very cool. I also ended up going with a Colt Stage 2 cam that I'm very impressed with so far. It's their second stage cam. It's a billet cam. They also claim that it's a drop-in, but they also do say on their website that they highly recommend having a machine shop. Make sure that all your cam guides and everything, where all the cam bearings sit, is going to be straight and true in order to have a good balanced running cam. Because anything like this, I have learned over the past couple of months through this entire process, is everything needs to be measured and perfect and stuff. I mean, hey, I rebuilt the last bottom end of my garage. I just basically put new bearings and everything and put it back together, new head gaskets and head studs, and that's basically how I left it. I put everything back to spec, but everything being balanced. That's another thing I did. I had the crankshaft was balanced, just to make sure all the harmonics, everything is going to be straight and true for power. So in the future, when I do decide to turn the power up and the fuel up via tuning, and maybe even add bigger fuel injectors and a turbo, the bottom end will be set for that. Just to point out here real quick, the non-rubbing downpipe is like the greatest thing since ice cream for me, because I have dealt with it for years with rubbing, and I tried to lay under the truck and do it with a crowbar and try to move the firewall, and it just laughed at me. So finally I can actually hear the AC blowing here, which is pretty cool, and nice cold AC still, which is awesome. Frankie vacuum tested it, leak tested it, and it's good to go. No leaks. It's got its full amount of refrigerant in it, so it is all set. To transition here, another thing that I noticed right off the bat is obviously how smooth this thing feels going down the road. Just the engine itself sounds very healthy, the injectors sound healthy, so very pleased with that. The cam, I've been kind of trying to drive this thing a little bit aggressively, not super hard, no wide open throttle passes yet, but just trying to get a little bit of boost on everything to get the piston rings to settle in, because if those settle in properly, I know you can have issues. So I've been trying to drive that a little bit rough, and it's been just fine. The power comes on amazing. The spool time, if anything, is a little bit more, or excuse me, a little bit less, but the power feels way stronger on the bottom end than it did before. So the only really mechanical piece that I changed in this to add performance was the camshaft. Other than that, the rods, the girdle, all that stuff is just for strength and for longevity. That's not gonna add any power of any sort. So very happy with that. We also decided, like I mentioned before, we also decided to go 20 over with this engine. Laz wanted to get a nice good seal in there so we could open the cylinders up just a little bit and rehone the block to make sure everything is oiled properly, everything's nice and square and tight. And that's just what machinists and engine builders do best. So we just left one of the finest eating establishments in South Florida now is Wawa. This one needed an icy and what are those? Pickle chips?
Dill pickle lays. So
she's got dill pickle lays. I guess it's the latest and greatest in chip technology, but had to have it. So we stopped and we were just about to get back on the road here so we can get out in the traffic. Just wanted to make a quick stop while the engine's up at operating temperature, take a quick walk around, let everybody hear how this thing idles. I know I keep saying it, but I'm super happy with how well this thing is running right now. It's the power comes on, awesome. Very smooth, no leaks. Somebody asked me the other day what a stage 2 Colt sounds like, and this is basically it. I have very minimal pulse width in these tunes at the moment, so it doesn't chop as much, but I think with a little more aggressive pulse width, it should chop a little bit more. But it does sound pretty good. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like the truck shakes a considerable amount more than it did before. The motor mounts are the same thing. Everything's nice and tight, but maybe just me. It's been a long time since I've even driven this thing, so who knows. But she definitely shines up nice. This drives me nuts. These things are original. An LMC truck makes a kit, I believe, for both sides. Like this all started to change color and it's all peeling, and I really don't like it, so I'm gonna try to get a new set for both sides to kind of clean that up. So there will definitely be a video out when I try to handle that process. Hope that was a good enough sound clip for everybody kind of walking around the truck. You can kind of hear how that cam sounds. My plans for this year, I was gonna say next year, it is next year, is I'm gonna do a lot of little things around the outside of the truck, some interior components I'd like to take care of, as well with some things with the engine coming up here, and probably around the beginning of the year. Just a lot of little things that I think will add a little bit of an edge to this thing and make it a little more fun to drive. Not that it's not a blast already, but I just want to do a couple more things to give it that little bit of a street edge, if you will. I'm gonna see if I can get a little throttle squeeze here for everybody. See if I can get this thing in the right spot here. Loves it as usual. There she is. Woo! Holy shit! Man, that power comes on good. And another thing that I've noticed with this is it doesn't really smoke as much, and which is good. I'm 26 years old. I'm not really into, you know, blowing smoke all over everybody and seeing how much smoke comes out of the tailpipe. That's not my game. I don't condone it. I get it. Modified diesels will do it. It's just it's a byproduct of horsepower. There are trucks that are squeaky clean. For example, Brian Gray's truck, his drag truck. If you have not seen it, go check that thing out. That thing runs 490s, I believe, in the 8th, and he's going faster with that truck. And that thing is squeaky clean down the racetrack. And I think Brian Jellick even tunes his truck as well. So that thing makes some serious power, really serious power with nitrous. So it's possible to have a truck that is almost smokeless. So we've come a long way with, especially in the 7.3 world, for diesel tuning and performance. And I think that's one thing, is being able to utilize all that fuel with the right turbo and injector setup. You can run very, very clean tunes and not have to worry about smoking people on the street. Because honestly, it's embarrassing driving around. You're trying to have fun with the truck and you got a huge cloud of smoke coming out the back. I get it, again, that it's part of the motorsport. Things happen, but I try not to do it on the street as much as I can. We are headed to our last spot. We are going to Emily's parents' house. They purchased us a pretty sweet area rug. I know this has nothing to do with trucks, but, well, I guess it kind of does, because we need a new area rug for the house. So they got us a new area rug for Christmas, which is awesome. And it's a big area rug, and we had no way to get it back. So kind of we're waiting on getting up here and bringing the truck so we can fit. Luckily, we got an 8-foot bed that we can use, and we will get that loaded up and we will start heading back to the house. We have successfully acquired the rug. You can see over that sticker, but there she is. And we are gonna head home here. This thing does amazing. I'm gonna get a little video of getting on the highway and cruising down the highway so everyone can hear this thing sounds, but man, it's awesome. These engines are super expensive to modify. I mean, really any engine's gonna be expensive to modify, but I get people asking me, is it worth it to do this? Is it worth it to do that? In my opinion, it's worth it to do it while you have the thing out. If you have the money, if you have someone that you trust, that you know can assemble the engine properly and do things the right way, and it gives you peace of mind. So I mean, some people don't care, and that's fine too. I got plenty of guys that I know that run 7.3s and don't care, and they just keep putting stock bottom ends in trucks, and that's fine. Honestly, it's cheaper, and they really don't care. I found the more you care, the more stuff starts to break on these things, and that's just my opinion, but guys don't care, man. They spray nitrous stock bottom end trucks and doing all kinds of craziness, and they stay together. It's all, a lot of it's really just in the tuning and how well your engine is tuned, and I guess it has to do with the condition, how well it's been maintained, things like that, but everything kind of just comes together for those guys. Up so good. Oh, I love it. God, I love it. It's so awesome. I'm running a E4OD, a built E4OD from Diesel Site. It's their legendary transmission with Bob Riley's Hercules torque converter. And this converter on the street is awesome. At the track, it's a little different. I believe this stall is, I think it's 100 or 150 RPM lower than stock. So trying to spool up a turbo on a converter with a lower stall is a little counterproductive, but when we get to the racetrack in the next couple months, we'll see how this thing does. But man, on the street, I tell you what, that third gear shift with the lockup is awesome. All right, just to show everybody how this thing shifts and gets on the highway here. Make sure we got overdrive on. What a beautiful day today too. Awesome out. South Florida has a lot of sunshine, but it has a lot of hot days. But this morning was actually super nice, and then it ended up warming up today, which is fine. So, and this thing just cruises, and it's so quiet in here. Emily just mentioned that to me. She's like, it is super quiet in here. Like, we used to have to yell to each other. And you can't turn down the truck, you know, you can't turn the volume down on the truck. I'm guilty of that. I've reached for the handle, I've reached for that knob a few times trying to turn this thing down. So just the overall package I'm very, very satisfied with. But just cruising 70, 75. I got 355 rear end gears. I used to have 410s, which was brutal. Anybody that has 410s knows my pain, but doing 70, 75, even 80 with a 410 rear end gear is tough in these trucks. So the 355 is way more comfortable. We are back at the house after I would say is a successful errand session, and I'm gonna get her Jeep out of the garage so we can get this thing in the garage, give it a quick wipe down while it sits, probably a little bit later today, and we're gonna get talking about what is coming up this weekend. Alrighty, she is tucked in finally since she's been apart, which is pretty cool. I had to rearrange some things in the garage to get it back to how it used to be, but man, this thing fits like a glove in here. Super cab long bed, believe it or not. The coolest part about this garage is I got this step here. I believe this is I think it's part of the footer for the foundation. So the tires stop and I still have room between the drywall and the back of the bumper, which is pretty cool. So we're all done for the day basically. Truck ran awesome. I'm sure everybody saw in the video, but we got it back in here. I'm gonna wipe it down after having it out and just clean it up for basically for the weekend. So to talk about the weekend, what we have coming up. January 3rd and 4th, this Friday and Saturday at Palm Beach International Raceway. If you are local, I will be out there with my friend Vinny with the single cab red OBS. He will be out there. He's got some pretty cool goodies going on his truck. He will be drag racing. I'll be entering this in the show and shine competition. I'm not ready to get it on the racetrack yet, but I will in the future. But we will be out there again, Palm Beach International Raceway, winter truck extravaganza, January 3rd and 4th. The weather looks like it's gonna be awesome, so come on out, hang out, see the truck. I like to meet people, so Vinny's gonna be doing some cool stuff. I'll be out there vlogging for sure, so you don't wanna miss it. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, my name is Brandon. This is the 7-3 Garage.